sprawled on the ground, gripped by a relentless heart attack. A profound sense of impending doom rushes through your veins as the spectre of death inches closer. We won't delve into the intricate journey to the hospital or the labyrinthine treatments that ensued. Instead, visualize the ominous shadow of death casting a chilling pall over your very existence, a term that resonates acutely in that fleeting moment. Now, consider this unusual turn of events. As you traverse the threshold into the unknown, something unexpected unfolds. Fear inexplicably begins to dissipate. The transition is surprisingly devoid of agony, liberating you from the physical vessel that once confined your essence. Picture this. You find yourself within an expansive, all-encompassing void, where darkness reigns supreme, its palpable presence intensifying your discomfort. Within this abyss, an ominous malevolence seems to writhe and skulk, an ever-present force that keeps you in a perpetual state of unease. The mind of the protagonist was consumed by an overpowering thought, a relentless sensation that someone or something relentlessly sought his presence. A mixture of terror and an urgent need to discover the supposed beacon of light that should guide his way surged within him. Moving cautiously and silently, he meticulously surveyed his surroundings, seeking any signs of refuge. In a particular direction, a slightly brighter area captured his attention, offering a glimmer of hope amid the surrounding uncertainty. However, a palpable aura of hostility emanated from his right, instilling hesitation in him toward advancing into the light's embrace. Fearing that stepping into the light might draw unwanted attention, he chose instead to retreat into the deeper shadows, striving for stillness. Enshrouded within the darkness, unsettling sounds and ominous movements echoed around him, sending shivers down his spine. A sense of being utterly lost pervaded his thoughts, leaving him paralyzed in indecision. Aware that any motion on his part might unveil his presence, he remained in a state of apprehension, considering the activity encircling him. Desperation seized him, prompting a desperate plea. "God, help me." Suddenly, everything dispersed in all directions, as though a formidable force had responded to his entreaty. Subsequently, an overwhelming sensation of perfect love and trust enveloped him, emanating a potency discernible from a considerable distance. Even at supersonic speeds, half an hour would be required to fully absorb its intensity. Approaching closer, its influence amplified, completely engulfing him in an ecstasy-defying verbal description. The profound feeling elevated him above the darkness, supported by two beings whose presence exuded a comforting aura akin to a mother's embrace. Gazing up at these benevolent entities, draped in flowing black attire with obscured faces behind reflective screens, communication transcended spoken language. They conveyed emotions and a form of musical expression that surpassed the limitations of verbal dialogue. In their presence, clarity replaced confusion, and the pursuit of knowledge gave way to pure understanding. Their ethereal voyage halted upon reaching an enigmatic object, defying any attempt to focus on it. Subsequently, one being unfurled an immense tobacco sack crafted from supple suede leather. Sorrily, they all entered this sack, initiating an extraordinary exchange of knowledge. This communication radiated transcendence, flooding his mind with an abundance of comprehension. The crux of their message centered on the notion that this realm lay under his dominion. He wielded the power to shape and manifest anything without constraint. However, once removed, an entity from this world could never return. Guiding him, they instructed him to visualize a space where absolute safety resonated. Astonishingly, that haven materialized before his eyes. Upon scrutiny, a couple of imperfections caught his notice. Remarkably, These blemishes seamlessly transformed into perfection, akin to Mercury's fluidity rearranging itself, before his enigmatic guides departed. In the midst of a sprawling, overstuffed recliner, he embarked on an expedition, venturing forth to navigate the uncharted territories of a realm born from his creative whimsy. The tranquility blanketed him like a comforting shroud, a soothing balm for the senses amidst the unexplored expanse. Yet, just as he was acclimatizing to the serene ambience enveloping him, his unearthly guides delivered an unexpected decree, an imperative to return to the familiar world he had once inhabited. Initially, his protests reverberated through the ether, but their resolve remained unyielding, unwavering in their determination to extract him from this unprecedented domain and ferry him back to the mundane environs of his past. As they traversed the path homeward, they encouraged him to absorb the sights that unfolded before him, an allowance bestowed upon the denizens of this peculiar dimension. However, the kaleidoscope of experiences he encountered defied verbal articulation. His attempts to encapsulate them in art proved futile, unable to grasp the essence of his transcendental journey. Eventually, they ushered him to a vantage point where a murky, enigmatic veil offered a fleeting glimpse of his corporeal form before thrusting him back into its confines. Upon reawakening, the familiarity of his corporeal vessel greeted him, but it was accompanied by a symphony of discomfort. A doctor and a nurse loomed nearby, inquiring about his awareness of his whereabouts. The doctor's discourse included the potentiality of injuries, hints of potential fractured ribs and a dislodged shoulder. Attached to a balloon pump, the doctor held out hope that his convalescence might gradually resurrect the fractured fragments of memory and function, casualties of oxygen deprivation. A sight resembling a swelling, akin to a football embedded beneath the skin on the right side of his chest, met his gaze. With every attempt at movement, pain was an unwelcome companion, particularly when he sought to maneuver his right arm. Abruptly, he found himself whisked behind a veiled curtain, where the personifications of love and truth awaited. Queries echoed regarding his swift return, accompanied by the placement of a chrome flashlight upon his chest, which inexplicably alleviated his discomfort. A question lingered. Did he desire anything beyond a return to his cherished pod, his sanctuary? His response was a resounding negative, met with their reassurance that his refuge would be primed for his return. And thus concludes today's narrative. Your reflections are, as always, coveted, awaiting your presence in the comments section below. Until our next rendezvous, remain ensconced in safety and within the fast food industry, rendering his financial landscape considerably arduous. Yet, within life's intricate tapestry, challenging junctures often serve as catalysts for momentous change. This was a pivotal juncture poised to steer the trajectory of his life. During a pivotal evening, an unforeseen circumstance arose when one of his colleagues required a hiatus, prompting the boss to enlist his assistance. As the shift unfolded, approximately an hour into his duties, he found himself entangled in a confrontation with a disgruntled customer. The customer, visibly displeased due to a missing item in their order, vociferously demanded recompense, disregarding the requisite receipt per company protocols. Adhering to company guidelines, he politely requested the receipt, only to be met with defiance from the inebriated customer asserting its non-existence. Amid escalating tensions, his composure remained steadfast, his efforts directed toward diffusing the mounting conflict. However, the customer's fury swelled, escalating into a physical altercation. Towering in size and strength, the customer's dominance rendered retaliation futile. A sharp, piercing sensation seized his chest, signaling distress. Swiftly, colleagues intervened, striving to disengage the belligerent aggressor, yet breathing became laboured, intensifying the chest pain. Timely intervention came in the form of 2 police officers, arriving just as the situation reached a critical juncture. With adeptness, one officer subdued the assailant, while the other urgently summoned emergency aid. An ambulance promptly materialized, its paramedics hastening his transit to the hospital. By this juncture, his condition had notably deteriorated, instilling fear and desperation. At a mere 20 years old, tears streamed down his face, grappling with the looming spectre of mortality and a sense of unfulfilled aspirations. En route to the hospital, amidst the ambulance's clamour, introspection ensued. Contemplating life's uncertainties, a profound realization emerged, life's fragility and preciousness. Hospital arrival brought confirmation of a heart attack, propelling a swift conveyance into the operating theatre. Now, drifting into a comatose realm, peculiar sensations unfolded, a faint pop, a struggle to unfurl his eyelids. Astonishingly, a vantage from above revealed a surreal scene, the operating room ceiling. Below, a hive of medical activity surrounded a monitor, intricate procedures underway, involving the insertion of a medical apparatus, perhaps a pacemaker, amid a labyrinth of wires and tubes. Despite mild discomfort, an avid curiosity enveloped him, fixated on the ongoing procedure. Abruptly, a mysterious conduit materialized, bathed in radiant luminescence, beckoning him forth. Encompassed by an enchanting melody, tranquility surged. Whizzing through the tunnel, an expanse of radiance emerged, imbuing an ineffable serenity throughout the passage. Transcending the brilliance, an otherworldly realm unfurled, distinct from anything terrestrial, bereft of conventional confines. In this enigmatic space, an overwhelming surge of love enveloped him, a love transcending terrestrial bounds, a boundless, incomparable affection. Within this embrace, total acceptance and understanding flooded his being. In this revelation, Earth's dominion waned into insignificance. The narrative delves into a profound encounter transcending the earthly realm, showcasing an intense spectrum of emotions and connections. The protagonist, enveloped in an overwhelming love surpassing mortal ties, found himself in a realm of mystique and wonder, altering his perception of life's core essence. His entry into this enigmatic space was marked by an inexplicable voice, inviting inquiry about its origin. Subsequently, a figure materialized before him, adorned in an ornate, white robe embellished with intricate gold details, presenting herself as his great-aunt, a guide in this nebulous realm bridging earth and celestial spheres, beyond the bounds of his reality. Though reluctant to depart for earth, the aunt gently reminded him of the temporal constraints binding him elsewhere. Unexpectedly, a second woman appeared, bearing striking resemblance to his aunt, with an aura of familiarity. Unveiling a soulful connection, she revealed their intertwined past as soulmates, recounting their shared life, entwined from a youthful age, embracing simplicity amidst emotional richness, despite life's trials and the untimely demise that had severed their earthly bond. Puzzled by the missed encounter on Earth, the intricate cosmic cycles were unveiled by his aunt, illuminating the mystifying mechanics governing connections and separations in the vast universe. Amidst grappling with these revelations, the tunnel reappeared, beckoning his return, despite his reluctance. Succumbing to the unseen forces, he faded from the radiant space back to a hospital room, where an angelic presence, orchestrating the doctor's actions with a compelling force, stood by. Embraced in the celestial light, he comprehended the profound significance of the blessing, urged by the angel to swiftly rejoin his physical form. Seeking aid from the angel, acknowledging the paramount importance of the opportunity, he received a gentle touch and an infusion of invigorating energy, initiating the process of realignment with his corporeal self. Concentrating on the familiar rhythm of his heartbeat, he conscientiously merged consciousness with body, marking his return to the tangible world, reuniting with his physical form, and anchoring his awareness to reality once more. The narrative delves into a profound encounter transcending the earthly realm, showcasing an intense spectrum of emotions and connections. The protagonist, enveloped in an overwhelming love surpassing mortal ties, found himself in a realm of mystique and wonder, altering his perception of life's core essence. His entry into this enigmatic space was marked by an inexplicable voice, inviting inquiry about its origin. Subsequently, a figure materialized before him, adorned in an ornate, white robe embellished with intricate gold details, presenting herself as his great-aunt, a guide in this nebulous realm bridging earth and celestial spheres, beyond the bounds of his reality. Though reluctant to depart for earth, the aunt gently reminded him of the temporal constraints binding him elsewhere. Unexpectedly, a second woman appeared, bearing striking resemblance to his aunt, with an aura of familiarity. Unveiling a soulful connection, she revealed their intertwined past as soulmates, recounting their shared life, entwined from a youthful age, embracing simplicity amidst emotional richness, despite life's trials and the untimely demise that had severed their earthly bond. Puzzled by the missed encounter on Earth, the intricate cosmic cycles were unveiled by his aunt, illuminating the mystifying mechanics governing connections and separations in the vast universe. Amidst grappling with these revelations, the tunnel reappeared, beckoning his return, despite his reluctance. Succumbing to the unseen forces, he faded from the radiant space back to a hospital room, where an angelic presence, orchestrating the doctor's actions with a compelling force, stood by. Embraced in the celestial light, he comprehended the profound significance of the blessing, urged by the angel to swiftly rejoin his physical form. Seeking aid from the angel, acknowledging the paramount importance of the opportunity, he received a gentle touch and an infusion of invigorating energy, initiating the process of realignment with his corporeal self. Concentrating on the familiar rhythm of his heartbeat, he conscientiously merged consciousness with body, marking his return to the tangible world, reuniting with his physical form, and anchoring his awareness to reality once more. The shroud of profound darkness enveloped him, an abyss where time seemed to freeze in its tracks. Upon the reawakening of his senses, he found himself in an enigmatic chamber, his physique bearing the strain akin to the aftermath of an arduous workout. In the ensuing weeks, a lingering suspicion gnawed at him. Perhaps this bewildering episode was induced by substances, challenging his grasp on its authenticity. In a heartfelt exchange with his mother, he delved into inquiries about an unfamiliar aunt previously unbeknownst to him. Following a pensive pause, his mother disclosed that this long-forgotten relative had transcended before his existence. Astonished, he vividly delineated the spectral encounter with this unknown aunt. His mother, choosing to lend credence to his narrative, discerned an uncanny resemblance between his vivid depiction and the features of the deceased aunt. This discourse fortified his conviction in the veracity of his encounter, fostering his exploration of an internal verity. Henceforth, resolutely anchored in the belief of the genuineness of his experience, it marked a profound odyssey. Yet he grappled incessantly with despondency, wrestling with the intensity of an affection encountered and subsequently severed. This inner strife posed a formidable impediment to assimilating into his present reality. Driven by a quest for solace, he opted to seek counsel from a psychiatrist. In the realm of therapy, the psychologist engaged in profound dialogues, attentively embracing his enigmatic emotions and encounters. Though the psychologist struggled to wholly fathom the depth of his sentiments, diligent efforts were made to guide him through the tumultuous labyrinth of his emotions. While an unrelenting yearning to reclaim the celestial radiance persisted throughout psychotherapy, a gradual realization dawned upon him. The journey back would demand time and arduous effort. Psychotherapy, however, furnished him with invaluable tools